What was the relationship with USWA and WWF, though, as far as, was there like a talent exchange that you guys had with them?
Yeah, again, Vince called and said, you guys are the last one standing. I watch your tapes, you know what you're doing. Why don't we compensate you a little bit and you let us send you some talent and you train them down there. I said, okay. Because he really wasn't killing us. It hurt us, but, you know, I wasn't making $1 million a year, $700,000. So hell, you can't spend $700,000. So I was never angry at WWE for their expansion. And we also, in a way, it helped us because every time he took a talent, it would give someone underneath talent a chance to move up to main event. And the crowds would sometimes pick up because of the new talent. Of course, also it ran out because we ran out of new talent, or good talent. Kind of like American Idol. So hot. Now, their top talent's not as good as it was 5 or 6 years ago. So they're not getting the ratings that they did.
Good point. And with the USWA versus WWF feud, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but they should go back and watch a lot of, when you guys had the inter-promotional feud, because that's the first time we got a glimpse at the heel character of Mr. McMahon. Do you remember him basically playing the heel on USWA TV?
Oh, yeah. See, I was in New York promoting when that happened. And we were sitting at his dining room table. Bruce Pritchard, Pat Patterson, me, and Vince. And we were talking about the need for a new talent. And kind of off the cuff, in a half-joking way and half-very serious way, I said, hell, Vince, you ought to get in the ring. You're the best natural heel I've ever known. Looked at me and he said, are you kidding? Or I said, yeah, about 50-50. I said, you are a natural heel. If you had decided to wrestle instead of promote, I would have had you as my superstar in Memphis. So we laughed it off, Then he came to me one day. We were doing one of the secondary shows over the studio. And he said, I've always had a secret desire to get in the ring. And I said, well, let me tell you what we got. I'll take you to Memphis. We'll start out here making interviews. And I'll take you to Memphis and you can get some experience under your belt. And I guarantee you, you'll be the best talent WWE's ever had. And that's how that all got started.
Did he ever do any actual training with you at all down there, or no?
Any what?
Did he do any actual, like wrestling training with you at all down there?
Well, yeah, he had one. He had some matches.
I'm sorry. He actually did some wrestling?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly because I'm had my plate full in New York, and then I'm trying to halfway oversee Memphis. I was pretty busy there those years, for months. And I think we did a deal with him and Law 1 or 2, maybe 3 Mondays. But he got tremendous heat with interviews before he ever showed up.
Yes, I remember those interviews well. Very, very funny stuff. Very good heel stuff. But if I could, I actually forgot or skipped over this earlier. But in Memphis, obviously, there was a huge feud, the 1987 Feud of the Year, and I was just wondering your take on it because we've had Austin Idol on the show a couple times, and he does nothing but have good things to say about you and good things to say about Jerry the King Lawler. But do you remember the feud between Austin Idol and Jerry Lawler that was basically one of the greatest feuds in the history of Memphis?
Yes. In a very general way, yes, I remember. Specifics, no, after, what was it, 40 years, a lot of it all runs together. It's like, right now, when you mention USWA, reason USWA came into being was Kerry and Kevin Von Erich called me and said, we're broke and filed for bankruptcy, and I hate to see my daddy's territory close up. Would you be interested in coming out? And I did, and saw potential, but I had to have a new banner. I didn't want to be WCCW, which is what they were, World Class.
What was the relationship like between Memphis and World Class? Was it hard to, like you were just talking about it, but was it hard to come up with ideas? Obviously, Jerry had a great match with Kerry Von Erich that I remember quite fondly. But was it hard to get together with, obviously going out of business, but, creatively, was it hard to deal with them?
With Dallas?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't hard. I had controlling interest.
Oh, you had controlling interest. Okay, gotcha. Yes, okay.
I had...
Also, you... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, also you had, the Von Erichs coming to Memphis and back and forth a lot. But was that profitable for you guys to for you to do that?
Was it what?
Profitable. Was that like a good business decision by you guys?
Oh yeah. I had a tour bus. We would do Dallas on Friday night and Memphis TV Saturday morning. All of us. That's where we broke Steve Austin in. Chris Adams was the trainer at my wrestling school, and Steve was one of the students. And Chris was very fond of him, thought he was a good talent. So we stuck him, we put him on the bus and took him to Memphis, where he could wrestle every night. Because Dallas didn't run very often. I mean, Dallas itself, the territory, didn't run very much.
Did you foresee...
Get experience. What?
Did you foresee Austin, at that point, obviously, you saw something in him, he was talented, and obviously he'd become, the biggest star, one of the biggest stars of all time, but did you foresee him at that point being, a huge star like he became?
No, I didn't. Chris Adams did. No, I just, he was just one of the boys. But of course, that's when he first got in. I mean, when somebody's having first match for you and the second they're him, you don't always see but they're going to be stars. Ultimate Warrior turned out to be a superstar, and Sting turned out to be a superstar. But then when I broke them into the business and they were the play brothers, they wasn't the same people as Ultimate Warrior and Sting.
With Warrior and Sting, did you see like potential in them when you got them, or did you just think that, like, man, I could mold these two guys into being something great?
No, when they showed up at my house in Hendersonville, I saw two good-looking bodies that had unbelievable passion to break into this business. And so that made it worth my time to break them in. Did I think they would ever rise to the level they did? No. But the truth, I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I mean, Sting gives you a ton of credit. Basically says, you know, you're basically the guy that gave him his first break, started him out really for real in the wrestling business, and you know, he gives you a lot of credit. And I guess you must have saw something, you know, in him. You know, obviously the passion, but you must have saw something in him to, you know, give him that chance.
Well, sure. What I'm saying is, I saw that they merited my time and energy to break into the business. But did I foresee that Sting would become the greatest wrestler WCW ever had? No. I didn't. I just thought he would. I thought he would make it the business. Now, this is after I had told them both, look, you guys are never going to be main event in Memphis because you broke in here. My advice to both of you is to go back home to California and get a good job. So, you know, when you're asking these questions, yes, I saw enough potential to break them in. Did I think they were going to become big box office superstars? No. Now, after they went to 2 or 3 other territories, and each stop along the way, they improved their character and their ability. Sure. But, you know, it's hard to look into a glass ball and see any more than these guys there breaking it with.
Very, very true. No doubt about that. And it's funny because you obviously know what you're doing, because maybe you don't see them become a huge star, but, you know, you knew that Sting and Warrior were going to be something in the business, Austin, and then, of course, even look back to your old, you know, your business partner in Jerry the King Lawler, who, you know, you gave your break to. So, obviously, you know what you're doing, and you see something in these guys, and obviously, you know, you can maximize a lot of their potential.
Well, yeah, like when Hogan came to me. Hogan wasn't then, and he isn't now, or any stop in between, a great athlete. He's very limited as far as just wrestling. But what I saw in him was the same charisma that made him one of the top box office of all time. And so, you know, some people, some of the talent exude charisma before they can wrestle. Jerry Lawler did. Jimmy Hart did. Jim Cornette did. Hulk Hogan did. Coco Big Ware of the Birdman. Certainly Randy Savage. But some, it takes a while for them to develop before it to come out. And if you will think about the two, Ultimate Warrior made the best interview I ever heard him make after he was through wrestling, when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. But when he was Ultimate Warrior, he wasn't very good on the mic. See what I'm saying?
Yep. Very, very true. And one point I forgot to make, as we were talking about, obviously USWA and World Class, was the influence of the AWA. Did they come to you and want to team up? Was that another instance where they were losing money and they needed somebody to pick them up too?
Yes. And what happened? I had sent a kid named Mike Shields up to help Vern because we were doing great business with the wrestling videos. I had seen the success on MTV, and I said, I can do that in the wrestling. So Mike was a good production man, television. So I sent him up there and had Mike break in his replacement down here. So anyway, Mike called me one day and said, I think Vern's going to close this. You ought to come up here and look at it. There's a lot of money that can be done. So I had several conversations with Vern, and he said, yeah, come on up. So when I did, he asked for $4 million for his company. Well, it wasn't worth that. It wasn't worth the business. But the synergy between Dallas, Tennessee territory, and there, I thought would help all three. So we made a deal. But then, right the day before we were supposed to go to his lawyer's office to sign the deal, he said, I thought last night, and I can't leave Greg out because I said, well, then give him the damn money, Vern. And he said, no, I can't do this deal. He wants to be in wrestling business. I can't do this deal if you don't make him Booker and keep him as a top talent. And I said, I'm not going to do that. Goodbye. I came back to Nashville. And I don't know, Vern folded up a year or two after that.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Maybe that year, I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny, the most memorable part of that whole thing was pretty much Jerry Lawler beating Kurt Hennig, for the strap for the AWA title. That was like the big memory, if you will, of that whole conglomeration, that whole little feud there.
Yeah. Kurt was one of the other great people in this business. I really love Kurt.
Now, as I start to wind it down here a little bit, I was just curious about your wrestling career in itself. Do you have a favorite match, or maybe matches that you look back upon that you really loved when you were involved with wrestling in the wrestling business?
That I was personally in?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably in Memphis. I did a hair match and I lost my hair and they shaved. That stands out because everybody, when I got in the dressing room, said, boy, you did a hell of a job. It looked like you were really crying. And I said, well, I really was. I was just so overcome with emotion that, 10,000 people were screaming, and, that's a real kick. The greatest match, the most emotional, Jack Briscoe was Eddie Grant. He was my best friend in the promotion end. Jack Briscoe was his man and Jerry Lawler was mine. And Lawler and Briscoe had a match in Memphis that still, to me, is the greatest match I've ever seen since I've been in business. And Eddie Graham and I both stood at the back of the Mid-South Coliseum and got emotional and cried watching it. It was just incredible.
Did you have a favorite opponent in your career that you wrestled?
No, not really.
What about
my wrestling personally in the ring never captured my passion. I did it because I needed to. But my real passion was in the promotion.
What was your favorite part in Memphis? Your favorite, promotional angle, your favorite as a booker? What was your favorite feud to book? I know there's so many to name. I mean, we were talking about a bunch before: Lawler Idol, Lawler Funk, Lawler Dundee, Lawler Valiant, Lawler Kaufman. I mean, the list goes on and on forever. But do you have a favorite, booking moment, if you will, from Memphis?
Yes. The Tupelo concession stand match. You ever heard of that?
No. What is that?
A team called the Moondogs. Lawler. They absolutely destroyed half of Tupelo Arena on all of the concession stands. Most brutal match I've ever seen, and drew money for a solid year after that one match. You might be able to get it on YouTube, or at least clips of it. See, I had a program that climaxed with that match, Briscoe Lawler, and it was called Quest for the Title. And that program lasted one solid year. And I brought in everybody. The Sheik, Dick the Bruiser, Wilbur Steiner, 2 or 3 world champions, Dory Funk, Terry Funk, Andre the Giant. I brought everybody in to wrestle Lawler. And it was a very simple program. It was his quest for the title. And, every week we'd say, well, the NWA says in order to get that title match with Briscoe, he's got to get some more wins under his belt. So I'm bringing in the Iron Sheik. Not the Iron Sheik, the original Sheik. And that was, one of the best programs I ever had, and most successful. Another match that stands out is Terry Garvin was the Fabulous Garvins, and Terry was gay. And I kind of brought him out of the closet, and I said, Terry, why don't you do the Gorgeous George gimmick, wear robes, roll your hair up, and just be the fabulous Terry Garvin. And I said, I think it'll be fine, because half the people thought Gorgeous George was gay. And in Atlanta, when Jim Barnett hired me down there, I brought Blue Fizz in to fight Terry Garvin. And that was one of the great things that I remember. When I went to Atlanta and throwing $2,200, we started. That match was sold out. The people were 3 deep around. around the arena, downtown arena. That was, later on I was able to take the wrestling to the Omni, but it started out there. I hate to cut this off, but I'm back at home.